So good morning, everyone. My name is Helena Nat. I'm the Executive Director with the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. And we call it Webinar Fridays because the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce represents 30,000 different business and civic leaders. And the mission of the Greater New York Chamber is to help grow your business. But besides help growing your business, there's very many components of growing your business and providing information for the wellness of your business. It's not only growing, but there's also a component of wellness involved in employees, employer relationships, and the holistic end of running your business. And I'm very excited about today's webinar because we are talking about wellness. We want to make wellness part of a conversation when it comes to human resources, when it comes to employee relationships, when it comes to just everyday, day-to-day existence and conversation when you are in a business. So, and there's a lot of articles going on, especially in New York City with the mayor about mental health and awareness and wellness. And we just want to have this conversation as not that it was ever a taboo, and I don't like using that word, but we want to make it a conversation that is almost every day. Like when you get up, how are you feeling? And this is what this group we have. I just want to introduce our consultants for today who are going to provide some great information. Two mental wellness consultants. We have Kat and Amanda. Thank you so much for doing this. It's so important. We appreciate this. We have Rachna from Unleash the Inner You. And we also have Irina from the New York City Life Coach. And when they became members of the chamber, they were, we talked about this. We actually had a webinar on this, and we had a lot of support. I got a lot of emails sitting there emailing the Greater New York Chamber and thanking them for making this part of a conversation. And I keep on using that word because we want this part of a conversation all the time when it comes to just every day, and every day everyone is working. So right now, I am going to turn it over to this fabulous, awesome panel. And right now we are going to turn it over to Kat and Amanda. And I'm really excited about this for our opening. Well, actually, let's go back. Sorry about that. We're going to go around the computer right now. I'm going to introduce Kat and Amanda bio on what they are about and what their goal is for today. Then we'll go to Rachna and then Irina. So let's go to Kat right now. Kat, introduce yourself. Very excited to have you, and thank you for everything that you're doing with the Greater New York Chamber and what you do.
Thank you for having us. So Amanda and I work very closely together. We are two mental wellness consultants. You can always reach us there. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. In addition to that, I'm also a certified yoga teacher. We work with businesses to help employers work with their employees with stress, trauma, anxiety. It's something that we're very passionate about. And we are here to serve and help. So that's a little bit about us. And we have a practice in Lynbrook, New York.
And by the way, we have a chat going on. So put your information in the chat. You will get all the information of everyone on this panel at the end of this presentation. So don't worry about that. You can always email me and I will provide their information. So feel free to, put your questions in the chat. Amanda, go ahead.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us. And, I think just like Kat, mental health is just like an important conversation for us. And it's important for us that we figure out how to get it into organizations and the places where you are every day, because we don't just want to see you on the couch. We want to see you thriving in the environments that you work in, that you live in. And mental health really needs to be an everyday part of that conversation. So I'm a licensed psychotherapist as well and specialized in trauma, depression, anxiety, and really how to look at that from a corporate lens, or organizational lens, so we can really support our people because they need it.
So true, so true. Rashna and then Irina.
Hi, great. My name is Rachna Kejriwal, and my company is Unleash the Inner You. What I practice is rapid transformational therapy. And what that does is that helps to get to the root cause of any specific issue, whether it be anxiety, depression, trauma, weight issues, confidence issues, et cetera. And the idea is that once we get to the root cause and we're able to unravel the emotional block that is attached to that, then we're able to free the individual. So you no longer have those symptoms of anxiety or of low self-confidence or low self-esteem, et cetera, just as an individual that you are. So I practice over Zoom, I practice in person. I'm based out of Manhattan. And the idea is that we're gonna tackle every single individual in the world and get them to be free of their own emotional blocks. That's my goal. And we do lots of workshops too, in the corporate arena, in other arenas as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Irina.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm new to the chamber, so this is my first encounter actually with everyone here. I'm originally from Romania. That's why I have the funny accent that people always wonder where I'm from. I'm a former, actually, professional athlete. I've been a gymnast for 13 years of my life. I hold 9 gold medals, 2 bronze, 2 silver in my career as an athlete. I'm a graduated actually with a master's degree in psychology and philosophy and literature. And that's my first part of my story. Then at the age of 23, I met my mentor, Jim Rohn. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar who Jim Rohn is, but maybe you heard about Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins' mentor was my mentor. So I was able to be mentored by one of what I call the OG in the industry of personal development. What I do, we have the practice here in New York for 13 years. We have a practice in Beverly Hills for 8 years. And we work with people at all levels, from the wellness side to career, to life, to development and leadership, with companies from 500 Fortune companies to people that just trying to change, to better themselves. My approach is very simple. It's coming from that mentality of championship mentality, which people are always looking to see, how can I have the mental strength of an athlete? Because usually they see us as superpowers. So that's where the approach is. Those are the tips. Those are the work one-on-one that we are doing with people. So there is a lot. You can check us guys out on the nyclifecoach.com.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. By the way, I was a gymnast also from age 3 to 20, so I get it. I didn't have medals, but it kept me in good shape. So right now, I'm really excited about that. Thank you, you guys. You all have amazing bios. Again, when you are not speaking, put your information in the chat because people will be looking at that. And so definitely do that. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Kat and Amanda. Let's get this opening breathing exercises. Let's get it going. I'm a firm believer in that. So I want to experience this with, everyone who is on the webinar right now.
All right, we're just going to pull up some of our slides here. Excellent. So we are here to talk about stress and self-care in the workplace. So before we get started on me and Amanda's presentation, we're going to just do a little breathing exercise to just ground us and center us. You're going to find yourself in your comfortable position, either on your chair, your bed, wherever you are. You're going to take your right hand and you're going to place it right on your heart. You're going to take your left hand and you're going to place it over that right hand. And I want you to just pause here for a second. And if it feels comfortable to you, you may close your eyes. If not, just look straight down to the ground. Then I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale with a big sigh out the mouth. Deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale with a big sigh out of the mouth. We're going to do that one more time. Deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale with a big sigh out the mouth. And just stay here for a few moments and just notice. Notice the body. Notice the sensations in your heart. Just noticing your thoughts coming and going. Bringing yourself back into the room, back into your body. Allowing yourself to just be present during this presentation. Letting go of your thoughts and worries and that to-do list. Just let it all go. And take one final inhale in through the nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Slowly opening your eyes, releasing your hands, and coming back to present moment. How does that feel? You can just put a thumbs up in the chat box. We can't see anyone, but you could feel free to put a thumbs up in the chat box and how you're feeling.
I know I'm feeling good and I'm excited, right? And it's good to feel good and then talk about something that may not always make us feel so good, right? And that is stress. It'll suck the joy right out of the room. So let's kind of kick off and talk about, what is stress in the first place? But I do want to acknowledge you guys too, that's out there in the world. We have some love this. We have a couple of thumbs up.
Excellent.
Beautiful. So we want to keep that going for you. And I think one of the best ways to keep this mood and keep how you feel is to understand what's happening. So what is stress? Stress is really the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response. And that thing that requires the change could be different for any one of us, right? Whether it's the demands of work, trying to reach all the pressures of everything that's expected. I think the past couple of years, this pandemic has been a stressor for all of us, and we've all really come to understand the importance of mental health and what happens when things abruptly change and when we have to, take on all these responsibilities to look at life differently, right? And even coming back to work, that's been a stressor for a lot of people as well. So it could definitely be anything that impacts you physically, emotionally, psychologically, and I'll even say spiritually as well. And it really just causes a level of strain and discomfort. And I think what's most interesting about stress is that we don't always notice the impact though, right? And we don't always notice how the body is reacting. And even though it is a normal part of life, we want you to be able to tune in to what that experience is and what it may be doing to you physically. And we love it in the context of work because so much happens at work. We spend so much of our time there, right? We formulate relationships there. I remember I had my kids at work, like everybody was a part of my life story. So it makes sense that if we spend so much of our life there and we are expected to produce so much there, that we also give people the tools to manage what might happen there, including stress.
So just a little bit of a quote, right? So just like physical health, an employee's mental health only doesn't exist while they are outside of their regular 9 to 5 hours, right? There is simply no way for people to stop feeling the effects of stress, anxiety, and depression at work. Just like Amanda said, if some of us are not just 9 to 5, some of us are 9 to 6, 9 to 7, 9 to 8. So if the majority of your life is spent at work and you have stress in your own life or anxiety or depression or any sort of other mental health issues that's going on with you, it's all of a sudden not expected to stop when we wake up in the morning and we sit at our desk to go to work. So we have to be proactive with these conversations.
So why we should prioritize this at work, right? I think the biggest one for me is it's so easy to get carried away. How many of us, and you could let us know in the chat, we won't tell, right? How many of you will end up going through the day and maybe not eat lunch? How many of you sometimes will kind of work through things and maybe not even use the bathroom, right? Or by the time you realize that you need to, you hardly make it to the restroom. right? So it's easy to get wrapped up in all that we do, and to the point sometimes that we don't even realize how that tension is sitting with us, or that we even start dismissing like our day-to-day needs, right? Our physical self. We'll put that aside to get the task done. And I think it, it makes sense for some of us that are super high achieving and we want to make sure everything is happening the way that it should. But are we tuning into what's happening with the body that needs to execute this work?
Right. And generally what happens is it takes a toll on your productivity, right? You're probably doing what we like to call just a half-assed job because you are stressed and exhausted. So what you used to do all the time, where you would implement a whole bunch of things and work, because you're so stressed, you're not operating sort of productively at work anymore, right? It impacts your job satisfaction. You ever seen those people? When I used to work at corporations, you would see these people that would come in and they would just be so down and their face would just look out of it because they were so stressed out from work and life. And so therefore it took a toll on their job satisfaction. They generally did not like their job anymore. And they were just there simply just going through the motions.
Yeah. And
Anybody relate?
Yeah, I think what's been interesting, like with this pandemic too, I think people are a little bit more aware of that too. And if it's not a culture that supports this idea of being satisfied at work, but I think really more so like a culture where wellness is really valued and there's space to like decompress and things like that, people are willing to leave their jobs now, right? We had this great, what they call it, the great exit or the great migration, something like that, right?
Great exit. We was just
Right.
talking about that, Amanda. Yes.
Yeah, but a lot of that was really because we recognized what work was asking of us wasn't a reflection of like how we were functioning and what we felt and what we really needed to be okay within the workplace, right? So emotionally, it was starting to take a toll on people. They were drained, and it was also eating them up physically. And they recognized that people didn't care, right? And some of us are in bigger systems where we go to work every day and we feel like people don't care. And it's hard to really work your best and bring your best all day in a place where you really feel like people genuinely don't care about you.
Absolutely. Can anybody agree with that? You want to just put a little thumbs up in the chat box? Or you want to just put a little, yes, agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. So true. Yep. It's important for your employer or your job to care about you as an individual, as a person that works for this company. Thank you for saying that. We got a lot of thumbs up and yes.
Yeah. I think humans are your best asset, right? We can't execute the mission of our organizations without good people, and we can't best serve our clients if we aren't serving our people. So it's something to think about. And the context that we'd like you to think about is in terms of what's happening with you in terms of stress. So how do you know that you're stressed? What are some of your personal signs of stress? Drop that for us in the chat.
Yeah.
What does it feel like? What does it look like? How do you know this is just too much?
Yeah. So I can disclose, for me, I have a long history of really, really, really horrific headaches and migraines, which we're going to talk about as well. Whenever I get like a small little headache at the side of my temple, boom, there's the stress. So it's really up to me to sort of figure out, oh, there it goes. Why am I stressed? What's going on? And a lot of us are not attuned to our bodies. We're so disconnected. We're not really realizing that, oh, my body is talking to me and I'm stressed.
And I'm seeing some of that in the chat with like the sleepless nights resulting in headaches. Yeah. And we get a lot of folks that have trouble falling asleep because they're so worried about everything, right? Work and what's happening outside of work, family things, what's coming up. I think just like Kat mentioned with the quote, it isn't just about what happens at work, but it doesn't turn off at work and doesn't always turn off after work. So definitely can affect your sleep. The tightness in the shoulders. A lot of people carry their stress there. Feeling irritable, absolutely.
Yep.
So we'll share a few more signs with you guys too. You guys are on it though.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting, I can lead in is, you know what, if we can combat, it's not even combat these issues, you know, the health, there's more people that will be into, you know, work more. You know, if they're out and they're on sick leave because of these issues,
Right,
they're not effective, you know, effective. They don't feel good about themselves and they're not doing the job that they want to do at the workforce.
right.
So if, you know, Kat and Amanda are bringing up these issues, that if you can do the breathing exercises and just put this mindfulness into your day-to-day work habits, and it is a work, you know, this is all part of work, it's going to definitely help you motivate yourself and be a better, and I don't want to say employee, but you'll be a better person and feeling good when you walk into work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Can anyone else relate to this that we have up here? The cognitive, the overthinking, the worrying thoughts, the procrastinating is a big thing that Amanda and I see in the practice a lot. That nervous energy, that fatigue. You know, I was reading an article not too long ago, and it was saying something like 1 out of every 10 people go to the emergency room thinking that they're having like a heart condition or a heart attack, and it's actually a panic attack, which is caused by stress. So we have become a culture where we are really disconnected, not necessarily just from our minds, but from our bodies. And so we start to feel it somatically.
Absolutely. And we also kind of feel it in our pockets too, from a business standpoint, right? Because going back to what Elena was saying, like it means there's more days that you may take off, right? It means that there's folks that even though they're at work, there's actually a word for it. I think it's like presenteeism, where you're present, but you're not really working, right? Because you're so distracted, you're so busy, worried about how you feel, or feeling irritated, feeling burnt out, or yeah, we're Googling other jobs, right? So as a business, as an organization, we're losing out. And I think even for ourselves, we're losing out because we're putting ourselves in that position to feel all the things that were kind of on that list.
Right. And how does it impact the body? Going back to that, right? So the elevated blood pressure, that dreaded weight gain, right? You're more likely weight gain, right? You're more likely to get sick, anxiety, depression, your chronic fatigue. And then what generally happens? You start taking FMLA, you start taking more sick days. Then you really start not caring, right? And then let's say that you go to your HR department or your employer to fill out FMLA, and maybe it's difficult for you to express how you're actually feeling. And that is why wellness programs and having this conversation on wellness at work is so important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's crazy to think about, right? You're like, you're not really thinking about why those pants don't fit anymore, but it could be because of all that's going on in the background that we're not really addressing. So how do we prioritize when it comes to balance, right? I think that's what we, if anything, we want to leave you with today. And it may come down to a bit of boundaries. So even at work, sort of knowing our limits, right? Knowing when we may need to even ask for help or bring it to the attention that I have too much going on, I need some support. Or how would you like me to do this because of that, right? I think boundaries is even modeling things like taking sick days. So your other staff or folks that you may be responsible for can see the value of it, or where we really put emphasis on like your wellness and how much we're concerned for you, and like human capital is more important really than anything else, right? Building in more time for yourself. So really scheduling those breaks. Do you need to block it out on your calendar? Do you need to close your door? Do you need to leave the building? Right? Sometimes you sit in your office, but you're still responding to emails. You're like, oh, I'll take this call. And it sucks up the little bit of break that you may have had for yourself. And that break could even just be a few minutes to breathe, like how we started this morning, incorporating things into your day intentionally, like yoga, mindfulness, meditation, exercise. Yes, we do those things outside of work, but imagine how valuable it could be if you can just have that pause during the day to reset your body, reset your mind, recharge, and get back to work, right? I think one of the worst things we did was like made this work day so demanding that we can't find time to do anything else. Because if you think about if you could sneak in like a power nap, how you feel after, right? Or how you feel after just taking a few deep breaths, like you're ready to go, so we encourage this idea of pausing to regroup. Our people are going to give us so much more. And then, lastly, creating a culture of wellness. Again, like if you set the tone and everyone knows it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, incorporate these tools into the day. It's okay to talk about what we need and that we really meet those needs as an organization. Like you are setting yourself up for like a phenomenal workplace. And I think some of the larger companies are leaning towards this. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, like Microsoft works with like a psychologist and someone else, but they infuse mindfulness into the workday for their staff. And they've found that their productivity has gone up. They're saving money in terms of like time off and loss and things like that, but that's become part of their culture. And it isn't just like a one-time conversation or a one-time workshop. I think we see that too, that it benefits us even as small business owners, or, whoever you are growing and building, that this can't be a one-time conversation. We've got to figure out how to build it in on a regular and make it consistent because it supports all parts of the business.
Absolutely.
Right?
And take those breaks.
Take the break.
Your lunch.
You're not doing anybody any favors.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Because you get to walk home with the physical effects of stress, right?
Exactly.
So what we'll leave you with, and most important question, and we want to hear from you, and you can put this in the chat. What is your one action step to reduce stress? Right? We want you to get to balance and we want you to notice that you need it. But now what are you going to do about it? Yes. So what is your one action step?
And those boundaries. It is okay to stop looking at emails when you get home and be present in your life and present for your family and for yourself.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Taking the break to walk.
RJ, I like your style. Yoga and music, my favorite thing.
And that commitment to scheduling. Listen, commit and schedule. And then don't feel bad if you miss a day or two. Like, that's okay. Just come back and just, try again. That's okay. I feel like that effort is powerful. And if you're having a hard time scheduling that and sticking to it, ask yourself why. Like, why am I not important enough to prioritize myself and what I need?
That is I like what RJ said, crying helps, because crying is a release. For sure.
And
Beautiful.
Pat, this has been so amazing. Great topics and great things to implement. You know what? It doesn't cost money to what you just did. It's just putting it on a checklist and incorporate one thing every day would make a difference. And though, Amanda and Kat have reached out to them, they're going to put their information in the chat. Also, maybe they'll send me their presentation. I can get it to you, those who are interested in it, because they have really good topics on just things to incorporate. So just love that what you had to offer. Very, very important. And thank you so much. So we're going to come back to the both of you. So thank you so much. Next, we have Rachna from Unleash the Inner You. Rachna, take it away and tell us what, stress relievers and things that we can all incorporate in our work life, in our daily life, because as Amanda and Kat said, it's one and the same. And if you have stress at home, you're bringing it to the work. And if you have stress at work, you're bringing it back to the office. So, what are your thoughts?
Great, thanks so much. And you're so right. So what I'm going to go over is what I call the rules of the mind. Because if we know how our mind works, we can help ourselves create empowering thoughts versus disempowering thoughts. So while there are about 15 rules of the mind or so, right now we're going to go through only about the 3 to 4 fundamental foundation rules of the mind. Okay. So for example, Rule number one is the mind does exactly what it thinks we want it to do. So for example, if we say to ourselves, I hate my job, the mind gets the signal that, oh, your job is causing you pain. And my job as the mind is to help get rid of pain for you. So that means I should help you get rid of your job. So how does this work in the practical sense as well? Inevitably, we start doing something that will miss the deadline. We'll mess up on the contract. We'll be late for a meeting. We've told our mind that we hate our job. So the mind finds ways to help us get out of it. The mind does not know what is right or wrong, good or bad, or it just thinks what it thinks we want it to do. Now, instead, if we were to say ourselves, I may not have the best job in the world, but I'm going to do my very best that I can in my role and grow in my competence and growing my character. And I'm going to do whatever I commit to. Here, the mind has gotten the signals, okay, that we love our job and we're going to find ways. So it's going to find ways for us to make sure we're on top of our deadlines or catch any errors in contracts, or we're time for every meetings. We find a way to commit it to what we want to commit to. The mind does exactly what it thinks what we want it to do. The second rule of the mind is the mind learns by repetition. So if I'm a sales representative for the company and I believe that, I'm really not good at sales, and then when we go in front of a customer and we muster up our courage and we say to ourselves, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get there and sell it. But say the customer starts asking a few questions, it gets a little aggressive, and we think, in our minds, we think to ourselves that I'm not going to be able to close this. I knew I wasn't good at sales. I knew I couldn't do it. And the mind is repeatedly getting these signals from us that we're not good at sales. The mind listens, and then it doesn't get the sale done. And then it doesn't give us the next possible solutions that we would have normally have thought of. So we don't close the sale, and then we confirm the thought that we're not good at sales. Again, if in that moment, while we're engaging with this aggressive customer, if we change our thought process and say to our mind, okay, I got this. I can figure it out. I know how to get it done. I can close it. The mind works at finding a solution. We come up with the answers that'll convince the customer. What we repeat to our mind is what the mind reinforces. So one of the best things I find, and this is for everywhere, that we can say to the mind repeatedly is, I'm good enough. I'm good enough in any context. The mind follows our cues and makes us good enough in any situation. So the mind learns by repetition. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3, the mind responds to 2 things: the words we say to ourselves and the pictures we create in our heads. So if we say to our mind, I'm really nervous about giving this presentation. I'm not sure if I have the facts correct. What if I stutter as I speak? What if when I'm asked a question, I don't know the answer? I don't mess up? Here, we're already imagining the worst case scenario and giving our mind a direction. We're priming our mind with a direction that we're getting ready to take, which we don't want. So the mind responds to these words and the pictures that we're creating for ourselves, and it will help us mess up because those are the cues we gave it. So what do we want to do? We want to create a better picture for ourselves, one that empowers us. So we consciously change our words. I trust my preparation for this presentation. I'm confident that I can do a good job. I'm ready for any question that comes up, and I know I'll find an appropriate answer. Again, here, we're giving our mind cues to go in the direction we want. We're priming it for the outcome that we want. We're saying the words and creating a picture in our mind that empower us, and the mind follows. It fulfills the picture that we've created. So, and it gives us that ability to come up with solutions as we do it, because we kept on saying that to our mind. The next rule of the mind is very important to understand, because this is the one that has us going back to habits that we want to get rid of. So rule number 4, the mind loves to do what is familiar and hates to do what is unfamiliar. So now let's take that example. Let's say the example is that ever since we started working, let's say for the past 5 years or so, we've never liked any job we've taken. At every job, we've always said to ourselves, oh, I hate my job. Inevitably, we mess up. Remember rule number 1, the mind does what it thinks we want it to do. So inevitably, if we keep on saying that we don't like our job, it helps us get rid of our job. because that's what the mind thinks that our job is giving us pain. And we get fired. And we get fired in the next job, and so on. So what happens in the mind is that doing wrong things at a job and getting fired becomes familiar to our mind. The mind has formed a stronger connection with this pattern. We've wired our brain, the thoughts, the feelings, the behaviors, and the actions that have to do with getting out of a job much strongly than the thoughts, feelings, behaviors, actions, and patterns of staying in a job successfully. So let's say we started to do a few things right. The boss started praising us, thinking of promoting us, but the mind's familiar pattern kicks in. Wait a minute, that's praise. I'm not used to that. I'm used to being scolded on the job. I have to change this and get back to the pattern that I'm familiar with. And that neural track that's stronger. So here it comes. All of a sudden, we start doing wrong things again. The boss starts screaming at us, condemns us, and the mind says, okay, that's better now because I'm back on track to what is familiar to me. That's what the neurons are used to being fired. So the mind takes you back to doing what is familiar to us. In this case, messing up where work was familiar, being fired is familiar. It's our comfort zone. It may be good or bad, but it's where we feel comfortable. And that's why many times we want to change, but we aren't able to. But the good news is, however, that we can make something familiar become unfamiliar and make something unfamiliar become familiar. This is part of neuroplasticity, where we can reduce a stronger neural connection, that firing pattern in our brain, and create a new firing pattern to make it more dominant. So a simple example, which I think we're all identified, someone who's not used to having coffee, or someone who used to having coffee with sugar. If you've told them that, okay, you have to now have coffee without sugar, the first time they're going to hate the taste, right? But after they do it repeatedly, again and again, and let's say 2 weeks, right? It's much easier. They don't mind having coffee without sugar. It's a new pattern that they've made. So it's a simple example of making something unfamiliar familiar and something unfamiliar familiar. So similarly, we can change our mindset. So in our example earlier of the pattern of hating our job that's familiar. Now let's say all of a sudden that our landlord tells us that, okay, if we don't pay next month's rent in time, we have to vacate our apartment, our home. So there are only two real motivators. One motivator is moving away from pain, and the second motivator is moving towards pleasure. So in this case, hopefully, the pain of vacating our home may be enough to want us to change our familiar pattern of losing our job. So we try again. It all starts with our thoughts. We go back to the rules of the mind. Rule number one, the mind is exactly what it wants, what it thinks we want it to do. Rule number two, the mind learns by repetition. Rule number three, the mind responds to two things: the words we say to ourselves and the pictures we create in our heads. So what do we want? We consciously know that we want to stay in our job. So we prime our mind and say to ourselves the things that help us enjoy our workplace. I'm really enjoying what I'm learning here. My boss helps me grow. What's most important here is that as soon as our mind starts to dwell on that familiar track, that negative track that we've had, that's been programmed into us, that's the time we need to be aware and recognize what our mind is doing. That's the time we need to watch our thoughts and redirect them. Literally telling our mind that, I'm watching you. I know you're taking me down the wrong path, but I choose not to go that way. I'm choosing to enjoy my workplace. I'm choosing to excel here. And as we repeat that to ourselves and visualize ourselves doing really well, putting feeling into that doing well, having gratitude for the amazing opportunity to work and earn and contribute, we are forcing a new neural pathway to build in our mind, the one that we want, and not the default one that already exists. And this is how we're able to make the change that we want. It's in those moments when we recognize our mind going back to a negative pattern that we change our thoughts. And it takes about 21 days for a new neural track to take dominance. if we repeatedly exercise it. So if we can understand that our mind has a tendency to go from a negative spiral, we can choose to interrupt it and choose a positive spiral. The only thing we can actually control, really, nothing else really, are our thoughts. And understanding the way our mind works can help us reset our thoughts every time. And we can empower ourselves to what we want. Thank you.
Amazing. And you know what, I have read the book, The Secret, and I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. And they talk about, exactly what you're talking about. Your mind, is, you have to program your mind to the positiveness, and it puts out the energy. So put those thoughts, go ahead.
I'll just make one addition, and you're so right, Helena, that's so right. But there is one caveat to that. What happens is, like, so for example, if we have a thought that, okay, I'm going to really do well on, in this meeting. That's what we say to ourselves. But subconsciously, we have a thought that says that, I know I can't do it, right? So that's the next rule of the mind, is that the mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. So it's like taking one step forward and taking another step back. So it's really, really about this. That's why sometimes it's like, yes, you're right, the magic, the secret, it does work. But when we have that conflicting belief, back of our head, that's something that requires a lot of discipline, or even, a therapy at times, to be able to say, all right, where did that come from? Where did I get this thought that I can't do it? It's coming from somewhere that I'm not good enough. And the idea is that we need to get rid of that emotional block so we can actually just be rid of it and be able to focus forward and say, yes, I am good enough. I can do this,
The two parts is so important, what you're saying. So I was just, yes, absolutely.
No, but I'm so glad you said that, because that made me get to another very critical rule of the mind, which
good.
is it can't hold conflicting thoughts. It's one step forward, one step backward. The mind doesn't know what to do. It's too confused. So it does nothing, actually. But then we have to keep on priming it to what we want.
Makes sense. Amazing. Put that information, put those thoughts into the chat. So thank you so much. And like I said, we'll have they'll have closing remarks at the end, so they can put their information in the chat where you can contact them. So next we have Irina, the New York City life coach. So take it away and tell us, your thoughts on how we can expand ourselves and make ourselves better, feel better all the time.
Okay, I love what everyone was talking about. Amazing information, everyone. So I had in mind one thing, and as I was listening to everyone, I was like, I think I need to close with something that people can take away, all this great information that the girls were giving it in here, especially that a lot of the times as a former athlete, companies, leaders, entrepreneurs, or even from entertainment, they think that I can come in and fix the situation because I'm an athlete and I'm invincible, or I know the big secret of having that champion mindset. And I think, Helena, you understand that as a gymnast, what sets us apart a lot of our athletes is the discipline and our ability of showing up. And people think that we love all the process. Now let's make it clear, we hate the process 90% of the time. Okay, like if somebody, any of the athletes comes and tells me I enjoy the practice, he's a big liar. You don't enjoy the practice, you enjoy winning at the end of the day. You enjoy what you learn. That's what you enjoy. You don't enjoy the day-to-day disciplines that you are doing. But that's a misconception, because we say if you love what you do, you will not work a day in your life. And that's true, but you will not always love the process, okay? So what sets people apart, and what I wanted to talk is giving you the habits that we need to implement at the end of the day in order to have the results that the girls were talking in here. And my mentor told me the first thing when he saw me, he said, you are the accumulation of your habits, nothing else. Your habits leads to your results. And that's as simple as that. If I'm looking at your results when people come in, and they share with me their results or companies, I am looking at two things: the habits that the leadership has in that company, or the habits that the person has in the day-to-day, because that will show me where they are in their life. That will show me their belief system. That will show me actually a little bit about what they have experienced up to this point in their life, okay? So let's talk a little bit about habits, okay? And I know that everyone says, I don't have time, yeah? And let me tell you something, the difference between you and the person that you wanna become are not the skills. Your habits will determine where you are going. It's that simple as that. So let's start a little bit practically. I'll share personally, actually, my habits. When I tell any leader what to do, I'm not talking from the books. I'm talking from what I do, because I'm talking from the results, okay? And that's what majority of the leaders, 90% of the leaders will share with you guys, what they do. Though a lot of the times we think that is something very complicated. No, it's actually very simple. It's our ability to do it every day. And I know that a question that we got a lot is what is the secret to implement the disciplines and those incredible habits every day? Let me tell you something, there is not a secret, okay? There is very simple, taking a decision and doing it. Because you do things from two reasons, desperation and inspiration, it's a combination of both. If you are just thinking that I am looking for my purpose and I'm looking to be inspired every day, that will not happen. So that's why what you do will help you where you want to be, okay? So let's go through the habits. When you wake up in the morning, please don't touch this first thing in the morning, okay? Because that's the first tendency. We touch the phone, we look at the phone, and we are thinking, what is the information in there? And usually we are looking on social media or on news, and that has a huge impact on how I'm feeling, okay? Then we might not eat nothing in the morning, yeah, and we are out the door. By the time that we get to work, we want to hit the cat by now, yeah, and we are angry and we are sometimes frustrated, and we get there and we talk with our coworkers about the person who cut us off, or the person in the subway, or I can go on and on with that, okay? Everyone, I think, experienced that. We are in New York area. Now, let's start with that part. I have a lot of people say, I wake up, I go to work out. That's great, supporting the body, that's a great thing that you'll do. But first we need to support our mind. That is connected with our body, that is connected with our soul. Now, what I love to do in the morning, first of all, when I'm in between awake and asleep, when the alarm goes off and I turn off the alarm, the first thing that is in my mind is something that makes me laugh or something that makes me happy, a positive thought. Now we have to be very aware to put that in, and that will come through practice. Some mornings you'll do it, some mornings you won't. For some people, connecting with God, that works too, because they say, I'm saying my first prayer in the morning. That's great. That's a good method to wake up, yeah? You get out the bed, and usually what I do, personally, I'll tell you this, I'm going into the bathroom, and on my bathroom mirror, I have my affirmations, my intentions, my who I am. Because you guys talked about the belief system, and she said really well in there, we have a belief system. Now that cannot be changed, can be replaced with a new belief system. So having that affirmation in there, and I know that a lot of the times we pick a paper and we try it at a certain point in our life and we say, I'm powerful, I'm beautiful. And then the brain will say, bullshit, you are not that. Very simple. Okay, now how we change that is through movement. We need to change our state. We need to change. Now, some mornings people say, I feel good, I can do that, but some mornings I don't. The idea is not to do it when you feel good. The idea is to do it every day. It doesn't matter how I feel. You see, as athletes, when people tell what is the secret, I show up, doesn't matter how I feel. I show up because I know where I want to go. And we can have a discussion about this another time. But that's what we do. So in the morning, if you snap your fingers, clap your hands, yeah? While in front of the mirror, while you say this, while you wash your face, there is a movement. For some people, they like music. It's great, move, get into that state of who you are truly and who you want to be. Now, what I do after that, that doesn't take me a long time, by the way. It takes you less than a minute. And I guarantee you, everyone has 1 minute in front of the mirror. Okay? You go in the kitchen. Now, in the morning, I take care of my body. Okay, and that's a big thing. I have my smoothie every morning. I have my antioxidant tea. That's part of the rule for over 20 years in my life. And what I do as I get out in the living room, I start my Alexa. You can start your phone, whatever you have. I start my Alexa and I say, Alexa, play Jim Rohn. Why? Because while I'm doing everything, I feed my mind. And I better feed it what I want. Because now as I'm busy, I'm getting everything else. And people say, but I'm not paying attention. Oh my God, your brain will pay so much attention to that you will not even gonna believe it. You will accumulate the information, don't worry about it. Then I sit down and I have my journal. Now this is my journal here, the schedule, but I have the gratitude journal. And the gratitude journal, I sit down and I do my gratitudes. Now, I don't sit down and say, I'm grateful for. No, I have my tea, my smoothie, and it takes you guys 5 minutes or less. I sit down and I say, I'm thankful and grateful for whatever it is, because whatever it is. There is a difference of that because in there. I'm thankful and grateful for a good night's sleep because I woke up relaxed. Can you repeat the gratitudes? Yes. Okay, not a problem. Again, Jim Rohn goes in the background. Okay, now I also have an intention for the day. It can be as simple as smiling more. Big or small, have the intentions for the day. Go with an intention out of your house. Now, and if you, by the way, if you read biographies of the successful people, starting with Napoleon Hill in 1934, who wrote the Think and Grow Rich, which is a commercial for over 500 successful people. He is literally in their habits, their ways of getting successful. He really studied this. Okay, so gratitude, it's a common habit that successful people have. And starting with Einstein, Einstein used to do 100 gratitude steps every morning. You're going to go out and walk and be grateful. It's a simple habit. Now people say, but I get busy, I have kids. Hear me out something. If you want your kids to be different and to experience something different in life, is not by what you say, is by what you do. If you want your team to experience a better wellness or a better habit, better results, it better starts with you. It doesn't start with what I say, it starts with what I do. There is no client, there is no leader, there is no anyone who I work with that can come to me and say, you did not do this morning. Because guess what? I will do it every day. I will not do it from time to time. I do it every day. Now, if you cannot in the morning, that's not a problem. Do it at night. If by mistake you miss the day, do tomorrow the day before. It's just that discipline. And people say not everyone has that. It will be important for you when you become important for you. As simple as that. When you become the most important person in your life, you are able to be there present for your company, for your business, for your family, for everyone else. It's one thing that I always share with people. You take care of you for you, I take care of me for you. It's very simple, guys. Now I know that people say, what other methods we can have? We have apps, we have all that. That's all great and beautiful, but until you don't take a decision that you want different results, that you're sick and tired of how you feel, you'll not make the change. As simple as that. We make the change in the moment when we take the decision. Now, we are not really taught how to take decisions, by the way. Because as kids, our parents take decisions for us in school. School takes decisions for us. We get to college, and then we get out of college and say, okay, what do I do? And usually we go and ask someone, what do you think? And I guarantee you something, they don't think much. And there is nothing in your interest in that thinking. So the person that we want to talk with, it's us. That's where the mental health starts as leaders. That's where the mental health starts as people. If I want my family to be different, I better not give them a ton of book and say, go and read this or do this. I better start doing it. Because
Rena,
yes.
you have such amazing information. A lot of people are putting that in the chat about, the gratitude and the discipline and everything like that. So I wanted, we have a hard, kind of hard stop at 11. So I just want to circle around and give a closing remarks because we have been monitoring the chat. If anyone has any questions while they're doing their closing remarks, put it in so we can answer those questions. But right now, I'm going to go to Kat and Amanda. If you can do your closing remarks real quick, and then we'll go to Rachna and then Irina. You're muted.
Thank you for having us today, the Chamber. We appreciate it. This is our first thing that we're doing with you guys, so we're happy to be here. Feel free to reach out to us if you need any wellness programs in your organization. We did put it in the chat. We're at 2 mental wellness consultants. And as we said, we're both psychotherapists, so this is what we do. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. And we'll definitely look out for any questions and we'll post our information again. Remember, mental health, it just has to be an everyday conversation. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you both. Rachna and then Irina.
Great. Thank you so much again, Helena, for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. And, it's like we all have issues. It's just that, if we understand where those emotional blocks are and what we need to release, then our life can truly change. We can actually get rid of those limiting beliefs and become a new person. And it's worked. It works all the time. So feel free to reach out. And we do workshops and we do corporate seminars, et cetera, just to help people get into how to tap into changing their limiting beliefs. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay, so I'll close with this. The way that,
just close it up.
yes, that's what I want to say. I'm grateful for being here with you guys and meet everyone. And you can reach out to me for so many things that we are doing here at NYC Life Coaching. But we have now a program going on, and this is my way of giving back to New Yorkers. We have a free mental and wellness program where your employees, they can take advantage of it. It's totally complimentary when people can take advantage of a free health and wellness evaluation. We have a 3D body scanner for them so they can get all the biometrics, and we do 1 hour of mental health tools and support. I know that Helena has the information. She will share it with you guys. And the only thing that I can tell you guys, it will start with one habit. Is exactly like the apple a day that will change your entire life. Just try it for 2 months and 3 months, and then you will see the changes. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day.
We're going to have Rachna do a closing, like a closing meditation exercise to close it out. Like I said, all the information is in the chat if you guys have to pop off, but stay for this closing meditation. I have their information if you have any questions, but their information is in the chat, but you can also reach me and I'll get you in contact with them. So Rachna, close it out. I'm very excited for this closing meditation.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. We're just going to have a little music to it. Like I say, everyone, just gently close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. This is a simple visualization. So imagine you're walking down 3 beautiful steps and taking a deep breath as you walk down. You're taking step 3, just relaxing and have your nerves turned loose. You're taking step 2. You can see your feet making contact as you go deeper within yourself. You're taking step 1. Just go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper, and relax. Understanding is power. And now that you've understood that you can control your thoughts to your desires, you are choosing to attract abundance in your life. You feel wealthy. You feel deserving of wealth. You have confidence in your ability to become and stay wealthy. You have incredible wealth generating ideas and know exactly how to execute them. You have a team that supports you. You have mentors who guide you well, and all those who believe in your abilities to generate wealth for yourself and those who work with you. All your finances are protected and grow every day. Every day, you have gratitude for the abundance the universe showers upon you. So on the count of 3, you can feel your surroundings. On the count of 2, you can feel your body. And on the count of 1, you fill up your lungs, feeling free, feeling abundant. And you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. Thank you.
I can't even, I just want to leave it on that because it's just like a meditation and this, you know, this self-worth. So with that, I'm going to be calm and just sit there and just say, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you to our panelists, and just enjoy the day. If we put these things into motion, you know what? Email me at the end of the day and see if it worked. So I would love to, you know, get the feedback. And again, thank you so much for all of your time. You know, at Kat and Amanda, thank you so much. Irina and Rashna, thank you so much. Very important. Everyone reach out to these ladies. They have so much information for you to guide you. And while I have everyone, whoever's still on, next Wednesday, join us at our holiday party, and hopefully some of you will be there in person and you can meet them one-on-one. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you again for this unbelievable presentation, and it will be on Chamber TV over the weekend. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.